Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I want to talk about trying to flip the switch and some of the things that stand in a person's way from having an awakening. I'll even describe what awakening is to help refresh people's memories about it or to give you better clarity. If you haven't done it yet, please hit that like and subscribe button and that bell notification icon to get notifications about whenever I drop a new video. And here we go. Okay, so in order to be able to get out of your own way, to see the things that you're doing that are sabotaging yourself from having a full-blown awakening, from being able to get it, I have to kind of describe awakening. Some of you may already know this or think you know this, or some may have experienced it and then lost it. That can happen sometimes. But basically what an awakening is, a real awakening, is when you see that all of your memories, your beliefs, the person that you think you are, just your mannerisms, everything to do with who you think you are, it just doesn't exist. It's not you. When you also have this experience, you will also realize that the inner voice that you have inside your head is working on its own. It's doing its own thing automatically. It's creating thoughts, scenarios. It's causing you stress and problems, making you think about things that are not good for you, making you feel bad, stressed out, anxious, depression, etc. Right? So this is what awakening is. Now here's the crazy part about it. Until you actually have it, you can only think you have it. It's really weird. Like, I know somebody who's very, very, very close to having a full-blown awakening, and they just can't see it yet. Now, the clarity that comes with a true awakening is so crystal clear. There is no thinking you may have it, thinking you may not have it. There's no confusion, right? You clearly see your mind and what it's doing to you, and literally you realize all the problems you thought you had, you actually don't have, right? Unless you live in like a war-torn country and have to worry about your life every day, you don't really have problems. Not in the modern Western world. I mean, okay, if you live in the, like really, really bad parts of the city, you could have some problems, but for the most part, you don't really have any problems. That imaginary argument you're having in your head with Denise from accounting, it's getting you worked up, and you think about it for a few hours or even a few days. You're doing that to yourself. Now, the inner voice is actually doing it, right? The only thing that you're doing is paying attention to it like TV. You believe that you are the one who's doing it, but you're not. We oftentimes give control of ourselves over to the inner voice. It has spent a lifetime tricking you into believing that the inner voice is you when it's not. Okay. Now, that's probably a little bit more of an extended version of what awakening is than I had intended, but it has a purpose. Now, when it comes to what are you doing to be able to have this clarity, to be able to enter what's called the gateless gate, to be able to see it, right? What are you doing? Well, most people don't have a strategy, right? They go to a YouTube channel or Facebook group, or they buy books and they don't actually dig in. They read these things that sound pretty and philosophical, but there's no instructions for how to actually do it. Now, if you're reading things like Eckhart Tolle or Adyashanti, right, those are pretty straightforward. If you actually pay attention, everything is in there that you're going to need, right? And it's similar to what I do. So the program that I use, it's not new. It's not mine. I'm not copywriting anything because it all has an origin somewhere else, right? And but it's simple. You know, I tell people, do this practice, do it daily, and pay attention, and you will feel yourself start to slip when you're getting close to having the full-blown awakening. You know, I've got another lady who was practicing the the daily work, and she could feel it. She could feel it happening. She doesn't know what's happening, but she could feel it. And then when it did happen, it flipped, you know, and she could see it. She's like, "Oh my God," you know. And then it's almost like being reborn. She's like, you know, and other people are like, "This is what life is like. This is what you see," and it's like, yeah, you know, it really is different, you know. But at the same time, it's the same world. It's just the only thing that's changed is you and your view, right? And your view has changed because you're not filtering it through your mind the way that you were before. So it's really neat. But some of the things that get in people's way, how they get in their own way, is sometimes they chase different teachers. You know, they'll come to me sometimes and they'll be like, "Well, I read this and I read that, and this person said this, and I really like this." And okay, but there's an old saying that says that a fox can't chase two rabbits at the same time, right? I believe personally that the methodology that I use is fairly straightforward, fairly simple, right? And I have other people who have used it with success to have a full-blown awakening and are constantly maturing in their awakening. But then I run across people that they're filled with doubt, right? And believe me, I completely get it. I know what it's like to be filled with doubt. You know, if I say this, their mind says, "Yeah, whatever, I don't believe that." Or they start looking for answers elsewhere, right? And it kind of hurts the process, you know. Maybe that's their pattern in life. Maybe that's what they are going to do until they get it, right? But, you know, I know a lady who spent a lot of time reading Eckhart Tolle. And she also did the practices that I had given her, and she was able to flip the switch. And I think she did it fairly quickly, you know. I would say that she started coming to realizations and, you know, almost being able to see everything, you know, around the 1 month mark. I had one lady, she reads a lot of books. You know, she's got a book about some sort of Buddhist something, you know, written by, I believe, a Westerner, and different philosophical ways of looking at life and dealing with life and whatnot. And she got upset at me one time, and she said, "You know, well, you believe you're more spiritually advanced than me." And I'm like, "No, not at all. To me, there is no, like, you're more spiritually advanced than anybody else. We're all the same, right?" And I didn't say anything to that effect, as far as I know. And, you know, I don't have like a smugness or a belief of feeling superior to anybody else. But she asked a question. She says, "Well, how do you know that I'm not where you're at?" And I said, "Because if you were, we wouldn't be having this conversation." Those who see their minds clearly, right? Whenever you are actually clear and you are awakened and you see other people who are not, it is so blatantly obvious because of the way that they talk, the way that they act, their judgments about everything in life, how they perceive things, how they can perceive things that don't even exist. She even went so far as to say that I said something that I didn't say, and I was like, no, I didn't say that. That's putting words in my mouth. If I wanted to say something, I will say it a certain way, and I'm pretty straightforward. So, yeah. Now take a look at this. Awakening is just graduation from kindergarten. Once you have the awakening, once you come to the other side of the mirror, is what I call it. Once you are permanently changed and altered and you see everything from this side, your journey is only beginning. It's just the beginning. And you have to mature into it, and then deeper realizations come later. And, you know, it's an amazing process to watch. And there's also some dangers immediately after becoming awakened. That if you have somebody who's been there, done that, they can advise you. If you want to know what you can do to become awakened, I would suggest that if you're going to follow somebody's system, like Eckhart Tolle or Adyashanti, that you follow their system. You read their book, you contemplate what they're talking about deeply, and then you do what they tell you. Okay? If you want to follow my system, it's not my system to begin with, it's just a distillation and demystification of a lot of the older methods. Okay? Then I suggest that you pick up the practice, you do the work, and the things that I say that are going to happen, they will happen. But if you're bouncing all over the place and you're coming up with excuses for why you can't do something, well, then that's what's going to happen too. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. Okay? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will get another one out here soon also. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. And I'll try and get back to them. And we can probably make a video about that. Have a good one.